Hi guys! Hi folks! Welcome back with me, Sonia Mo, and Across the Map podcast. welcome. And today I've got someone spectacular with me, the girl, the mother of women. Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm gonna get the nickname the mother of women. Okay, my name is Gertrude Diabene. I'm studying at the University of East Anglia, taking MA in Global Social Development. I come from Tanzania. It's a beautiful country in East Africa. Come visit, guys. I'm a lawyer by profession, but I've been working around women rights, children rights, human rights, and people with disabilities rights for almost more than 10 years right now with the Legal and Human Rights Center, an organization in Tanzania. So when you visit, please also come and learn our work.
Wow, that's so wonderful. You've been doing women's stuff for so long. It shows your commitment and dedication. That's really good.
Yeah. So I've been working on like different
Yeah.
issues around women. Yeah, so gender equality, gender-based violence,
Yeah.
education, health, especially sexual reproductive health rights, rural women, indigenous women. So it's just like kind of touch basing on every issue so that we don't leave anyone behind.
Yes, that's very true. All right. So folks, today's topic we will be talking about um, power, policy, patriarchy, women's leadership in Tanzania and Indonesia.
Wow, yeah. That's a good topic.
All right, so before we start, let's discuss what is the definition of being a leader, of leadership or leadership. How do you define that word?
Okay, so before I even go to the definition, I remember I had a mentor. She's American. I had this kind of mentality that being a leader, you just have to be a president, you have to be a minister, you have to be somewhere in a position of power. But she said, like, everybody can be a leader from where they are. So even you, for that level you are, you're already a leader. As long as you influence, as long as you motivate, as long as you have a vision, as long as you are accountable, as long as you're empathetic, kind of exercising all the leadership qualities. And so the biggest that I can define leadership is influence and motivation.
Yes.
The kind of this kind of feeling of that you are influencing a group of people, you are motivating people you don't know or you know, that's already leadership. So for me, that's the general definition of leadership.
Yes, that's really true. I think it's not about position only, but it is about your dedication, the motivation. Why do you do that, and giving like good influence for others around you.
Yes.
All right, that's really good definition, I think. And um, why do you think it is important to engage women in executive or leader positions? Why?
Okay, so first, it is important to understand that women have been excluded with so many things.
Yeah, it is.
But it is also very key to also understand women have been leaders since the world started. But then patriarchy and actually society have been excluding them, especially on those kind of positioned leadership that people consider, because they believe that women are weak, women would not be able to influence, would not be able to motivate, would not be able to stand into those leadership positions and kind of bring change or use that power that they have, which actually is very wrong, because we have seen how our mothers have been leading our societies, our families, our communities, how they have been figures into our lives. So that is already leadership. And so it is really very important to ensure that women are also part of leadership. They are also given these opportunities to become in these positions to lead and to exercise power, because women are very smart.
Yeah.
And I think the exclusion also goes to kind of just dim women's light. But we have seen a lot of, even with the challenge, we have seen a lot of women who have been leading and they have been in high positions. They have been doing well. I come from a country where we have a female president right now.
Okay.
So it is among the 1% of the world where we have female presidents.
Is that the first president? No.
Is the first female president.
Female president.
Yes, yeah. But then we also had the female president from Liberia. She's the first African female president.
Okay.
Her name is Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and she did wonderful actually in Liberia. So it is important for women to become leaders, just as it is important for men to become leaders. Just give us opportunities to lead and see what we can do. Don't exclude us. Don't just have this kind of mentality that we are not capable of handling leadership, accountability, power, or roles and everything. We should just divert from the notion that women should only stay in the kitchen, but rather they should be in all those rooms where they command power.
Yeah, it is. It is true. And I think there are so many challenges that women nowadays have been facing in order to get into the leadership positions. And we will talk about that later. But because I think the most interesting one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then, do you think there will be consequences if there is no women in leadership positions?
We already seeing the consequences. So I can give like one example. So like we have like this kind of local community leadership going to the national level in my country. So then though this time there is like this village, they passed a law saying that because the national policy was to ensure that all women give birth at a hospital. And so this village, in order to respond to that kind of policy, they say that any woman who gives birth at home is going to be penalized. They penalize the women. While when you are pregnant, you know how weak you are. You are supposed to be helped, to be assisted to access a health center for you to give birth with healthy professionals. But then you are penalized this woman for giving birth at home.
Crazy.
While not considered, there are some cultures that discourage women giving birth at a hospital, but also a pregnant woman taking herself to the hospital. She needs somebody. Her husband has to be there. Her supportive cycle has to be there. But then you are penalizing this woman. And then when we check like those who pass that kind of bylaw, they are all men, because that the village authority had all men. There was no woman in that to stand and say like, you are not listening to our voice. So that's one of the challenge that we can see, or the consequences we can see of including women into this leadership position, or into these kind of rooms where they command power, or they represent, or they bring their voices to be heard. One of the consequences is that like women issues won't be as represented as they are supposed to be, but women agenda will just not proceed. It just be stagnant, because women are not there to say. I'm not saying that women being there, they are going to push the women agenda, because I know there are also women who are gatekeepers of patriarchy, but I'm saying them being there is going to change the narrative, even if in a snail motion, but we are just going to get there. So there is bigger consequences of just not having women in leadership position, but also other marginalized groups represented, like persons with disabilities, like indigenous people. Like we need to have a room of leaders where every voice is represented,
is heard and represented. Yes, and I think it's important. And when women are left behind, it will affect the development of the countries as well. Because I think a half of population in a country also consists of women. So it means that if you leave the women, it means that you leave the citizens. Big group of people. I think it's really dangerous. And let's move on to the heart of our conversation in this podcast about the challenges. This has been talking for years. What are the challenges of women in leadership position? Maybe you can give examples of Tanzanian cases. Maybe we can take from the culture or religion or social norms.
I think I have worked on women political participation and decision making. Decision making is important, because you can have just women leaders as cosmetic. What decision are they making? Do they have the power to make decisions? But through my work around, actually, I have to applaud women who are in political position. They are one of the strongest, powerful. There are so many challenges. There are systematic challenges. There are social norms. There are religious challenges. There are cultural challenges. There are financial challenges. Like, in order for you to go and just run a campaign, you need money. And in my country, most women are struggling with poverty, or whatever property that they own, they are just part of their they are part of their husband. Yes, matrimonial properties, and the husband will just say no, This is wastage of money. But when they would want to do as men, they won't even seek your permission. And so most women would actually struggle when they are trying to run the campaign. And when they oppose us during that campaign, when they see that these women are powerful, they would go to their husbands or their spouse and tell them like, no, 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 you should not do this. Tell your woman to stop. And then the man will just come and say like, you should stop, even though you are influential or you are doing something. But so there is also issues of social norms. The communities just don't believe women can be good leaders. So you just go there and then they're like, no, we don't want you. They will rather pick a man who's unqualified over a qualified woman because he's just a man. So many women are struggling with that. But then we come with the religion. For example, for us, we have a female president who is also Muslim. And most in the Muslim culture, I don't know, I've not read the Quran much, but I hear from the Muslim community that women are not supposed to be leaders. So that kind of narrative, you know how it can make many not vote for women into power. But then there is one big thing that people are also ignoring, systems, for political systems. For example, for us, we have affirmative action where just women are given political seats just because you want to see women in the parliament. But we also have women in the constituents, but which are very, very low numbers because communities don't think they should vote women. But then these women who have decided now to run for political positions, they also face extortion. Through this political system, they are told like, oh, you should sleep with someone so that we should give you the position. You should give this. It's like that sex corruption kind of affects women more. So then you have to decide your dignity or that political position that you might also not get. So then you find women compromise a lot of things just to be there. While men don't have this kind of challenges, they just have a clear way where they go. And so when we see very few women in political position, we need to ask why. We need to ask, are these challenges being lifted? We need to ask, what other issues are they facing? We need to talk to those who have tried to be in those platforms. We need to speak to them and hear their voice so that we can challenge this kind of narrative. I know in Indonesia it might be the same thing, so we can also
I think like in Indonesian political system we have like 30% of quota for women. So every political parties have to have women in their in their parties, and as big as 30%. But unfortunately, it is just like a tokenism. You know, they have women in the positions, but they have no voice to make a decisions. But because again, in the end of the story, the male will make the decisions. Yeah.
So it is just like cosmetic.
It is a cosmetic function.
Pieces of furniture in the parliament. And that is what we are saying no.
Yeah. And then I think like in the cultural things, then so like for example, Indonesia has a Christian religion, and so there is a Bible saying that women cannot
be leaders.
Be leader.
Oh, in the Bible also.
I mean, I think it is not written explicitly, but people interpret it in a different way, which says that women cannot have authority over men. And then it means that women cannot lead. What do you think about that?
There are so many women in the Bible. I'm not saying that I have read my Bible so much, but I have. There are so many women in the Bible who have been very
Yes, it is.
For example, there's this woman, I can't remember. She killed this Sisera. I think there was this in the Old Testament when the Israel were going somewhere. And then she even told there was a male soldier who was a senior soldier. And then she even told him, like, if I'm going to kill this man, then you will know that God has put that victory into the woman's hands. We have seen women who have been very good leaders. And when we speak about leadership, it's not about just being in position of power, but where you are. How are you influencing and how are you motivating? We have seen women who have done so much good things. So that could only show that women can be leaders, because the Bible, although it has excluded many, but it has also given us women figures who have become, who have even Israel. There was some time like this kind of leaders who were leading Israel before they got King Saul, the first king.
Esther.
Yes, we had like there were female. We call judges, like the book of Judges. We had female judges.
Deborah.
So, they were there. So if God saw that need, why? Like
well, I think it is not about the Bible itself. I think it's the interpretation.
Interpretation.
The interpretation of patriarchal
Yeah,
actors,
patriarchal
and then
interpretation.
it well, it does affect a lot of things how women get into executive or leadership positions. Okay, so we have talked a lot about the challenges about women in leaderships and etc. etc. What do you want to say to women out there so that they can get motivation, thriving about these patriarchal norms and challenges?
Yes, as I'm going to say to women, as much as we have so many challenges, we have to
Mhm.
understand there are women who kind of offended these challenges
Yeah.
and stood their ground and they are where they are. So we should look to them as models and say, like, if they could manage to deal with this challenge and get to where they are, unapologetically, we can get to where we are.
Yeah.
You should not feel like you don't belong somewhere. You can enter any room because you belong in any room.
Yeah.
And you should go for your dreams and what you want. And we have a space, even though we have challenge, we still have a platform where our voices can be heard. And this is something that I really did not want to say, but whenever you get to a position, make sure you pull as many women as you can. Because I do not want to say it because when they say when a woman is in a position, she works 10 times to represent women. Because definitely the worst part is when a woman is in power and she does something bad, it will reflect on all women. But when a man is in power and she does even much worse than that woman, nobody will even speak about it. So like we should just be there and command power and do the vision that we want to implement and bring change and ensure that we have systems that kind of protect the women. So when you are out of that role, another woman can also access it.
Yes.
So unapologetically do what your heart says to do. Even though we have challenges, we still have a very big sky for us to fly and get where we want to.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And then I think in this digital era, we can kind of influence people through digital platforms, and then give the awareness about how important it is to have women in executive positions. And to end this conversation,
it is ending. It is sad.
Women's leadership is not one universal model. It is shaped by political systems, economic structures, and cultural negotiations. Thank you guys for watching and listening. See you in the next podcast. Bye.